Welcome to solverfy.
This question is asking us to name a set of 3 alkenes. And an alkene is just a hydrocarbon with a double bond. So the way that you name an alkene is you number the carbons in the chain that gives you the longest continuous set of carbons, starting with the carbon that positions the double bond on the lowest carbon. So taking A, for example, I don't want to start here because this double bond is closer to the carbon over here. So my first carbon will be the one that is closest to the double bond. And then that means that's the second, that's the third, and that's the fourth. Now, if this were an alkane, a chain of 4 carbons would have the root name butane. Because this is an alkene, because it has that double bond, the root here is going to be butene. And then the other thing you want to do with an alkene is you want to identify any substituents. There are none. This is just a 4-carbon chain, but you also want to include the position of the double bond. And in this case, the double bond is connected to the first carbon. So A is 1 because the double bond is coming off of the first carbon, butene because it is a 4-carbon chain. And we don't have to worry about any substituents on A because it's just that simple continuous chain. For B, we want to start with the same process, although this will look a little more complex because there is a substituent hanging off of the chain here. So I'm going to start numbering my carbons on this end. This will be my first because my double bond is over here. So I want to start numbering the carbon that's closest to the double bond. 2, 3, that's 4, and then this is 5 up here, because remember we're going for the longest continuous chain, 6. And so that means that our root name for this is going to be a hexene. Now, we also want to note that the double bond is off of the second carbon, and we do want to further recognize this methyl group, which is hanging off of the fourth. So what we're going to name this is 4-methyl, because we have a methyl group coming off of the fourth carbon. 2, because that's the location of the double bond. And then the root name hexene, because the longest continuous chain here is 6 carbons. And so you put it in that order: the position of the substituent, the identity, the number for the double bond, and then the carbon root. And so on C, let's find our double bond. It's right here. So we're going to start numbering our carbons over here. It'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that tells me that my root is a heptene because there are 7 carbons in that chain. And then I need to look for any substituents. There's a methyl right here off the second carbon, and there's another off of the fifth. So I'm going to say my substituents are in the second and fifth position. There are 2 of them, 2 methyl groups, so I'm going to say dimethyl. And then after I have finished identifying my substituents and their positions, I need to identify the location of the double bond. It's right here off of the 3rd carbon. And note that I'm saying it's off of the 3rd and not the 4th, because I always want to put that double bond in the position of the lowest numbered carbon. So I'll say 3, and then our root, as I mentioned earlier, was heptene. And so that is the name of that alkene.